So welcome everyone to counselors in the room and counselor joining online and to folks in the gallery as well. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We're a little late due to some technical difficulties, but it's 7:08, and I'll ask everyone to please rise if you're able for O Canada. Thank you, everyone. So I'm going to call for items added to the agenda. I do have a couple just as a result. Oh, sorry, I was just skipping right over the roll call. We have to make sure we're all here this evening.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, CAO.
Oh, not a problem. District 1, Councillor Sean Sampson.
Present.
Thank you. District 2, Councillor Michael Dignan.
Present.
District 3, Councillor Melanie Sampson.
Present.
District 4, Warden Amanda Mombriket.
Present.
And District 5, Deputy Warden Brent Sampson.
Present.
Thank you. The roll has been called.
Thank you, CAO. Now we'll look for some items to add to the agenda. So I do know that we have a couple of items. The Bylaw and Policy Committee that met just prior to council, we had 2 recommendations come from that. So we'll put forward those 2 motions, and they were with regards to a special events bylaw and also the bylaw regarding the abutting municipal properties for public participation program. So any other items to add besides those 2?
Madam Chair, if I may, within the gallery tonight is our new Economic Development Officer with the Cape Breton Partnership, Martin Thompson. I'd just like everybody to see Martin, say hi to those that have not met him. And Martin was working out of our office today and thought he'd stick around to say hi to everybody at council for those that haven't met him. So
That's great.
it is.
Thank you. Thanks, Troy. And yeah, thank you, Martin, for joining us this evening. We look forward to working with you. Okay, so any further items added to the agenda? Could I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Any further discussion on the agenda? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, that motion is carried. So the next item on the agenda is the review of minutes. We do have several sets of minutes to review this evening, so many thanks to Shelley for getting those out to us in advance. So the first are the minutes from January 23rd regular council meetings. If there's no errors or omissions, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll move the approval of the January 23rd regular council meeting minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sampson. Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. The next set of minutes are from the January 23rd public hearing. Any errors or omissions? Okay, motion to approve, please.
I'll make the motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Digdon. Any further discussion on the public hearing minutes? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? All right, that motion is carried. And the last set of minutes are from the January 31st, 2023 minutes meeting, sorry. If there's no errors or omissions, can I get a motion to approve, please?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Any further discussion on the special meeting minutes? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. So we generally at this point open it up for a question period before the Committee of the Whole report. Should folks have questions on the Committee of the Whole report, they're welcome to pose them now. So the number to call if for folks who are phoning in is 902-226-9885. Or if there's questions from the gallery, you're welcome as well. Okay, it's pretty quiet, so we'll move on. So I'm going to hand things over for the committee reports, for the Committee of the Whole report. Deputy Warden Brent Sampson, you've got a chunk of the agenda this evening to read through, so over to you. Thank you.
That's all right. Committee of the Whole report, February 2023. The committee met on February 21st, 2023. The committee discussed provincial snow removal. I move that Council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole that staff request a meeting of Council and the Department of Public Works in our region to discuss concerns regarding provincial snow clearing, and further move that the Warden draft a letter listing our concerns to the Minister of Transportation.
Oh, we have a call coming in, so I'm going to ask you
We can
to
just put that on
hold that
Yeah.
thought, Deputy Warden, if you don't mind.
There's the delay, I guess.
That must be quite a time lag this evening,
Hello.
yes.
Hi.
Did you have a question for Council?
Sorry, I guess I was just trying to call for question period.
Yeah, so this is question period for the Committee of the Whole report.
Okay, so do I just wait and hear the report?
So Councillor Sampson is just going through the report now. We're getting ready to make the motions. So we would have published the agenda with the Committee of the Whole report items on it. And I'm not sure if you would have seen that.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So I guess I assumed that I could ask my question that's not on the agenda.
Okay, well,
Or do I wait?
So we have a second question period coming up at the end of the meeting for items that are related to the rest of the agenda, but it's usually in our Committee of the Whole meetings where we have just general, we just open it for questions generally from the public. So tonight we're sticking with our agenda. And I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Sorry, it's Dolores Callahan.
Oh, hi, Dolores.
Hi.
So I think, yeah, if you have questions that are not related to items on the agenda, we may need to ask you to hang on to those until our next meeting.
Until your next meeting.
Yeah, the next Committee of the Whole meeting, I should be clear, which would be March, the middle of March.
Okay, I understand that part.
Yeah.
I guess because of last week's rescheduling,
Yeah,
when asking if questions non-related to the Committee of the Whole could be asked at this particular meeting.
so for this meeting, we have two question periods. We have one that is specific to items that are related to the Committee of the Whole report. And then we have another question period at the end that are related to other items on the agenda. At our next Committee of the Whole meeting on March 13th, it'll be open to questions from the public about things that are not on the agenda. So I think that's probably the one you're looking for, Dolores.
Well, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. However, and it is what it is, I was under the impression and understood that questions could be asked not on the, and I wouldn't have to wait, I guess, until March.
Yeah, no, for our regular agenda, we try to keep things pretty tight because it's usually a pretty packed agenda. But we definitely will be opening it in March for like we usually do. And I mean, it was unfortunate, I know, with the snowstorm, it rescheduled us.
And again, I guess I was under the impression I was told that I could,
that's what I
because of last week's rescheduling.
So that's not the case. Sorry for the confusion, but we can definitely follow up. And certainly, Dolores, if you have questions in the meantime, you know, you can certainly ask them of staff or counselors at any time, but our next open question period would be Committee of the Whole for March 13th.
And which is March the 13th.
That's
correct?
right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Okay.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I think the delay there is, maybe we need to account for that a little bit more for sure, so. Okay. So Deputy Warden, you had made a motion, on the provincial snow clearing. So could I have a seconder on
I'll
that?
second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion?
Yes, I don't think that motion is as it was. So,
I know, yeah, I was thinking
you're
the same thing.
requesting a meeting with Public Works, yes, but that you draft a letter listing our concerns to the Minister of Transportation, I think we were asking for a meeting.
For
'Cause we-
her, for the Minister of Transportation.
Correct, that
yes.
we had a
Yeah.
discussion about whether or not we would list them,
Yeah.
we would just send our concerns or ask for a meeting, and I thought our decision was to ask for a meeting.
That was the impression I had too, but I could be wrong.
I'm just,
Okay. I'm just gonna go back and. I don't have
So
my-
it should state Department of Public Works and the Minister. I think we had discussed maybe the two of them.
that's right.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there
Like
was 2 parts to
individually,
it.
but
Just
there was
that
2 parts, but
rather than
Right,
just sending a
right, so
letter with
yeah.
your concerns, it was instead sending a letter.
Yeah, the
of
letter
ask.
we were sending was to request the meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So just take out that further move, that whole part?
yeah.
Draft a letter asking for a meeting with the
Requesting,
minister,
yeah.
requesting a meeting with the Minister of Transportation.
Okay.
are we confident that we didn't want to meet with the local folks as well?
I
No,
think you
that's
did.
in
Yeah,
there,
that's
though.
part of it.
That's in
No,
there,
both.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so then that's not reading right, so,
So it was that we would request a meeting of council and local staff
Oh,
with the Department of Public Works.
Yep.
Yep.
And also that we write a letter to the minister requesting a meeting with her as well.
Whatever, person.
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can still say, and further move, that the warden draft a letter
Mm-hmm.
requesting a meeting with,
Yes.
With the Minister of Transportation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, Madam Warden, I could be wrong, but I noticed that Deputy Warden read it, and then Councillor Sean Sampson seconded. Before we go to question, do we have to ask for an amendment?
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
motion prior to just redoing it?
Yeah, I think procedurally we
Friendly
need to do
amendment.
that.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'll make that motion with those amendments, please.
Okay,
And is the mover okay with the amendment?
Yeah, fine with
Okay.
that.
all right, so Councillor Sean Sampson has made a motion for amendments. Could I have a seconder on those amendments?
I'll second that.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna go with Deputy Warden on that one. I think he might have just beat you, Councillor Digdon. Maybe there's a delay there too. All right, any further discussion on that item? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried.
The committee discussed the province's introduction to Bill 225. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole to have the warden draft a letter to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, acknowledging that we are confident Bill 225 was passed with positive intentions to address the housing crisis, but that council has concerns about the process and requests that the province consider repealing the bill, which grants ministerial authority to override lawfully established bylaws of the Halifax Regional Municipality.
Okay. Could I have a seconder on that motion, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
That motion is carried.
The committee discussed Accessibility Week. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole that the request for funds to support activities in recognition of Accessibility Week from May 29th to June 4th, 2023 be deferred to budget deliberations.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder on that motion, please?
I'll second.
Thanks, Councillor Melanie. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion is carried.
The committee discussed the administration Portuaire de Petit de Gras for infrastructure grant funds request in the amount of $15,000. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole that council approve the administration Portuaire de Petit de Gras grant request in the amount of $15,000 to install water and sewer connections as eligible projects and allocated under the drinking water/wastewater categories respectively from the Canada Community Building Fund and taken from the $50,000 tagged under waterfront developments as approved on our 5-year capital investment plan for the 2022-2023 fiscal year.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder on that motion, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Councillor Sampson, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion is carried.
The committee discussed the Bonnie Bray Seniors Club for Type 4 Regional Health General Grant Funds request in the amount of $1,689. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole that council approve the Bonnie Bray Seniors Club grant request for purchasing and installing an automated external defibrillator in the amount of $1,000 and allocated as follows. District 1, $150, District 2, $150, District 4, $337.78, and the Regional Fund, $362.22.
Could I have a seconder on that motion, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Digdon. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Those opposed? That motion is carried.
This concludes the Committee of the Whole report for the month of February 2023, and I move its adoption.
All right. Could I have a seconder for the Committee of the Whole report, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie. Any further discussion on the Committee of the Whole report? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. So, thanks, Deputy Warden. Take a drink. Back over to you for our Planning Advisory and Heritage report. So,
Planning Advisory Heritage Committee for the month of February 2023. The committee met on February 14th, 2023. The committee discussed heritage plaques for buildings designated as heritage properties. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Planning Advisory /Heritage Committee to pursue the idea of having plaques made and given to heritage buildings upon designation.
do I have a seconder on that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie Sampson. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? That motion is carried.
The committee discussed interpretive panels for lighthouse heritage properties. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Planning Advisory /Heritage Committee to have staff explore funding options for the support of interpretive panels for lighthouse heritage properties on Île-Madame, and further move that staff contact the proponent to inquire on the progress of the project.
Okay, could I have a seconder on that motion?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion on that item? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion is carried.
The committee discussed municipal heritage property designation scoring criteria. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Planning Advisory /Heritage Committee to accept the recommendation from the Eastern District Planning Commission to adopt the municipal heritage property designation scoring criteria as presented, and further move that the Planning Commission carry out the scoring, which can be then reviewed, revised as necessary, and agreed to by the Planning Advisory /Heritage Committee.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder on that item, on that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie Sampson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion is carried.
The committee discussed the public participation program regarding engagements with abutting municipalities. I move that council accept the recommendation of the Planning Advisory /Heritage Committee to refer the public participation program regarding engagement with abutting municipalities staff report as presented by Eastern District Planning Commission to the Bylaw/Policy Committee for review.
Okay. Could I have a
That's
second?
bread for information.
Because we already did it.
Could I have a
I'll
seconder
second
on that?
it.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Melanie Sampson. Any further discussion on that item? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried.
This
Another busy
concludes the month.
Nope.
This concludes the monthly report of the Planning Advisory / Heritage Committee for the month of February 2023, and I move its adoption.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. It's been a busy month of committees, so could I have a seconder on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. All right. So the next item on our agenda is a first reading regarding the amendment of the Private Ways Bylaw number 66. The purpose here is to add a section 5 to repeal and replace, to read that version number 1 dated June 28th, 2021, and all other versions of the bylaw, Private Ways Bylaw, are repealed and replaced by the current one. So it was just a standard section that was missing on that. So we'd be looking for a motion to that the first reading to amend the Private Ways Bylaw number 66 be approved.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
Second that motion.
Councillor Sean Sampson, thank you. Any further discussion on the first reading? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is regarding the Richmond Villa Board member appointment. And as council will recall, we had made a decision to advertise for a vacancy on the Board of Directors of the Richmond Villa following the unfortunate passing of Eva Landry, who was a longtime board member there and the chair of the board up until her death. So we did advertise. I think staff received one application. It is from Robert Wombold, who is a resident of the Village of St. Peters. I think has been a past board member of the villa and certainly is familiar with the operation. So would be, I think, a really excellent asset to have around that table, and certainly would be fulfilling the voice of community at that table as well. So I'd be looking for a motion at this point, if there's no objection, to accept Robert Wombold as the appointed community member to the Richmond Villa Board.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Digdon.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Any further discussion on that item?
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
just for clarity, I would take it that it would be then on us after your motion goes tonight that we would correspond with that board.
Yeah, that would be great.
Letting them know that it has, that this happened tonight and that person has now been
Yeah.
appointed, and then they get connected with emails and phone and all that stuff. That's on us to do after this.
That would be wonderful. If you could notify if you could notify Robert as well as the Villa Board, that would be great. I think just a
Perfect.
piece of official correspondence.
Just want to get the process right. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion on that item? Great, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. So next item on the agenda will be over to you, CAO Troy McCulloch, for spring 2023 heavy collection.
Yeah, this is another one of those that'll be a first time for me going through this process with you guys, but due to the timing in that, it comes to you guys ahead of time. Looking for the motion to approve the heavy garbage collection that will take place this spring. Last year's number was there, and the ballpark figures that, or variance that we're giving you for this year is in front of you for your consideration.
All right, so any questions for Troy on this item? Just want to say, it's the most wonderful time of the year when we start to talk about spring heavy garbage pickup. I love it.
Spring anything.
Spring anything, I'm for it, yeah. So if there's no questions for Troy, I guess I'd be looking for a motion that, to have council accept the recommendation from the Director of Public Works, as stated in his memo, to issue a tender for collection services for the 2023 spring heavy garbage collection.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Deputy Warden, could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie Sampson. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Thank you, Troy. Next item on the agenda is correspondence, and we do have some action required on this one. So we did receive a letter from Senator Dan Christmas regarding the Bredora Lakes Collaborative Environmental Planning Initiative. So we know it fondly as SEPI, which Richmond County is a signatory to. They have made a funding request, as they do each year, and just wondering, certainly they're specifically talking about the Two-Eyed Seeing Conference. I'm not even going to make an attempt at the Mi'kmaq pronunciation. I'm going to ask someone to teach me that before I attempt it myself. That's going to be held in October 2023. And so we would have some time to defer this to budget deliberations. So would council be in favor of deferring that at this point, or? Okay. All right, maybe I'll ask for a motion then, so that it lands in our action items, and just to defer this request to budget.
I'll make the motion to refer to request to budget.
Thank you, Councillor Digdon. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion is carried. All right, we didn't have any correspondence that was just for information purposes, so we'll just jump to the review of action items. Were there any questions on the action items on the list?
Madam
Yeah,
Chair,
CAO?
you and I have an update on item 87. The next meeting is scheduled for March 6th for the bylaw.
For the bylaw, yeah. So as you'll recall, we had kind of been in discussions with Mulgrave and a few other municipalities about exploring a bylaw officer position that would be potentially jointly, shared. So we do have a date for the next meeting. So we're looking forward to that conversation, and kind of also had some work done by an NSCC work term student doing an inventory of the bylaws and that are the various municipalities have out there. So we've got a little bit of a leg up in terms of trying to understand if there are commonalities, and I can tell you there are not as many as I would have thought there would be. But we'll figure that out and get back to you with an update. So.
And item 136, the vehicle, we did try to make the purchase and put the order in. Confirmation of what year we're going to receive it and when we'll get it is yet to be determined. So, but we did action that one as well.
Great, thank you. Any further discussions on the action items? Okay, so now we're on to the items added to the agenda, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, there were two because of the bylaw and policy meeting that we had just prior to our council meeting. We had two recommendations coming to council as a result of that discussion. So the first is that we would be looking for a motion of council to adopt the special events bylaw as presented, with amendments to section 8.5, adding an item III for school-based events, and to section 6.3C, adding unless exempted through section 8.1. So could I have a motion to that effect, please, councillors?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Deputy Warden. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. And the next item on the added list was the motion to adopt the policy for public participation program regarding engagement with abutting municipalities as set out in Appendix A of the EDPC planning report dated February 14th, 2023, and obviously put in the format that we have adopted here for our policies. So be seeking for a motion to that effect as well.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Councillor Melanie Sampson. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, that motion is carried. So I think that was it for the items added, and Shelley, I've just emailed those to you, so you'll have them as well. We'll be, because moving on to question period, this question period, as mentioned earlier, will be restricted to the remainder of the agenda, following the Committee of the Whole and the Bylaw Policy Committee reports and the PAC Committee report. So we'll just give it a minute. I'm going to give it an extra little bit of time because I feel like maybe that delay is a little longer than what I anticipated. So for folks who are watching online, there is a little bit of a delay between the time that we kind of are discussing things. There's maybe a 30-second or so delay from, between our discussions and from what you see on camera. So we're just trying to allow for that. So if you do have questions, you can please call in at 902-226-9885. All right. It's only 28. Wow. Thought it was going to be much later, looking at the length of that agenda, but I think it was a
Like
lot of
things,
committee
but
work.
nothing new.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not hearing the phone ring, and so we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, and it is the in-camera session. And we do have some contract negotiations to discuss, so we'll look for a motion to move in camera, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Sean Sampson. Seconder, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion is carried. Thanks very much. We'll take a quick little break, and we'll be back for in camera. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.